So I get this check and I went, holy mackerel. So I was excited, but I was also disturbed. And so this other guy comes up to me. His name was John. And John says to me this, you're going to be back. I said, why? He says, because you're going to fail. I looked at him and I said, look, few expletive words. Because that's what he did. He left Xerox, failed, and he came back. I said, look, you fail and you came back, but I'm going to fail and I'm never coming back. And that's the attitude. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, if you say, well, if I fail, I'll go back to mommy and daddy. Then that's what you'll do. So if you fail, that's when I became an entrepreneur. Because I had no money. I had no money for years. Yeah, I didn't have a paycheck. But that's what my rich dad encouraged me to do. He says, when you don't have this paycheck, you get hungrier, smarter, and it's a test of your character. Will you become a crook? Will you become dishonest? Will you cheat and steal? Or will you become a better human being? So really, that's the benefit of becoming an entrepreneur. You really find out who you are when you don't have anything. So you always have to look at the big picture. Too many people look at, well, what's going to happen to me? When you look at the big picture, you're also going to know that when something bad happens, something good is going to happen. But you gotta prepare for whatever is coming. If you think the next 20 years will be like the last 20 years, you're going to get creamed. When you and I go to the supermarket and we buy a carton of milk, we always check for the expiration date, but most people do not check for the expiration date on their brains. Instead of getting out of debt, I get into debt. I just refinanced $300 million in debt. I went from 5% to 2.5% interest. I made a fortune. Every month, more money comes in because my cost of money has gone down. So while some financial experts are saying, get out of debt, I'm saying, learn how to use debt. See, when I came back from serving in Vietnam in January of '73, and the first thing my rich dad said to me was, go to school to learn how to invest in real estate. It wasn't real estate. It was how to use debt, and taxes make the rich richer. Debt and taxes make the poor and middle class poorer. So all the rich guys who are doctors and lawyers or, those guys, they're getting creamed, and they don't know why. Doctors are getting creamed. Oh yeah, they're making more money, but the take-home is less. My doctor just yelled at me. He's happy. He says, oh, guess what? I finally made $1 million. And I said, yeah, this is just 3 weeks ago. And so I said, yeah, well, how much you pay in tax? He says, $750,000 in taxes. So his net was about $400,000, 30. That's not bad, but when I make $1 million, I keep $1 million. And the reason is because I don't make it by working for money. See, if you work for money, you're taxed. So that's why lesson number 1 in Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the rich don't work for money. What we do instead is we create businesses as entrepreneurs. We acquire real estate. I don't invest in the stock market. So the reason is because as entrepreneurs, I have more control over my income, how much I make and how much I pay in taxes. And because I pay in taxes. And because I'm an entrepreneur as well as an investor in real estate, I pay 0 tax. So every time I make, let's say, $1 million as an entrepreneur, I immediately invest it in real estate, and I have a 4-to-1 step up. So I put $1 million in real estate, I get $4 million from the bank. That's why I love banks. But the banks are screwing everybody else, Terrible, but it's good for me. I thought you said when you print, it's good for you. But when you print, it's bad for people that work for money. Because when you print, savers get creamed and people who work for money get creamed. When they print, debtors get rich. You see, debt and taxes make the rich richer, and debt and taxes make the poor and middle class poorer. When we have obsolete ideas, we get obsolete results. So what's happening for most people? The idea of going to school, getting a job, working hard, saving money, getting out of debt, buying your house because it's an asset, and investing for a long term. It's obsolete. The world has changed. The world changed in 1971 when President Nixon took us off the gold standard and money became debt. What if we get rid of school, then what would happen? Would it be better if we had no educational system at all? No, I'm saying education was more important before. It's just obsolete. You know, there's Moore's Law which states information doubles every 18 months.